So this is part two. I just realized that I needed to go over a few things on the first part of the worksheet. And so here you go. I just said part two, part one, part two, whatever. So this is the first problem. In the notes that I was giving you, the inverse derivative, I was having you write it as g prime of b. These are the same thing. So when problem number one asks you to find this, that's the same thing. Okay. So in this problem, we are given just half of this coordinate. We're given the y part or the b part. We need to find the a or the x. Okay, so that's going to be the first step. The first step in the notes was to verify that the coordinates we had, the point that we had, or the two numbers that we had, was accurate. Here we're not given two numbers, here we're only given one. So we're going to start off by saying this f of x is the same as 7. So we have x cubed minus 1 equals 7. Solve. X cubed equals 8. And so x equals 2. So that means our a equals 2. So the original problem could have said find g prime of 7, or find the inverse of this at the point 2 comma 7. Okay. So I'm just going to rewrite all of this again and what we know. We know that f of 2 equals 7. And we know g of 7, which is the inverse, equals 2. So that's several ways to say the same thing. All right. The next thing we need to do is find the derivative of our original function. So f prime of x equals 3x squared. Okay. That's step 2. Step 3 is to then find f prime of 2. F prime of a. That goes with the original function. So f prime of 2 is 3 times 2 squared, which is 4, so we get 12. All right. We're trying to find g prime of b, or g prime of 7. So I'm going to write g prime of 7 equals 1 over f prime of 2. So that is kind of the formula that we were given in the notes. We already know what f prime of 2 is. It is 12. So our answer is 1 over 12. So I tried to give you a lot of information there. So hopefully you understood how we got at this point right here from what we were given in the original problem. All right, number 2. I'm not going to do 3 and 4, but I'm going to start you on number 2. So we are starting off with f of x equals x cubed plus 2x minus 1. And we're saying b equals 2. So we're going to start by finding a. X cubed plus 2x minus 1. Set it equal to b. And solve. So x cubed plus 2x minus 3 equals 0. If this was x squared, we would factor. It's x cubed. So one option is to use a calculator. You would graph it and see where it crosses the x-intercept. And that would be your x equals. Okay. I'm just going to look at it and think through some numbers. If x was 0, would this be true? No. It would give you negative 3 equals 0. How about if x equals 1? 1 cubed is 1, plus 2 is 3, and then 3 minus 3 equals 0. So there's your answer. Okay. There's also, I think, a synthetic division type problem that you could do. And I'm not going to do that. Basically, you would use your calculator. You would graph it and see what it equals. Okay. But I'm just going to skip that and just go by inspection. So we know that x equals 1 or a equals 1. All right. I'm going to let you finish that one from there. Number 3, f of x equals sine x, and we are given that b equals 1/2. So first, we need to solve for a. So we'll say sine x equals 1/2. So inverse sine, so x equals the inverse sine of 1/2. So calculator would give you a decimal answer at this point. That's not going to do you much good because there's too much rounding involved. Instead, you need a unit circle. You should have one already printed out on your desk as you're working. Here is one that, of course, I just pulled up. So make sure that you are using the one with radians. The first number in the parentheses is cosine, the second one is sine. So where does sine x equal 1/2? Where is sine equal to 1/2? Right here at pi over 6. So x equals pi over 6, or a equals pi over 6. And then I'll let you finish that up from there. You have to take the derivative, plug in a, and then put 1 over that. Basic steps. 5, 7, and 9 are pretty straightforward. Well, I do want to mention one thing on number 7. So number 7 says if f of 3 equals 8 and f prime of 3 equals 5, get this out of the way, f3 equals 8. Oh, that didn't work. Hold on. And f prime of 3 equals 5. What do you know about f prime? That is too vague of a question for me. So I'm just going to ask you to find f inverse of 8, or g prime of 8. Okay. So use the information that you have here to do that. All right, so that's going to give you a little bit of help on the first half of that assignment, and I will post that here in a minute.